And now, from 12 Studios, this is News 12 Now.
Today is Thursday, April 25th. Welcome to News 12 Now. I'm Kylee Dedmon. New on News 12 Now, the auction of a Lake Texoma marina this morning was canceled. Marina Del Rey in Kingston was set to go on the auction block following foreclosure. A listing in the Medill Record stated the marina owner allegedly didn't pay the full loan or pay the late fees and apparently refused to supply the lender with records and leases for the marina. No word on the balance of the loan or why the auction was canceled. This is the second foreclosure filed against the same owner and LLC. An Idabel man charged in McCurtain County with sexually abusing 2 children and producing child pornography. Court records show the abuse by 51-year-old Robert Groven allegedly happened over a span of 9 years. Groven faces up to life in prison if convicted. And an update on the silver alert out of Lone Grove, Tommy Tynes is still missing, but the Lone Grove Police Department say that he may be in the Ringling area. Tynes was last seen Friday morning in Lone Grove on his way to Gainesville. He drives a red 2002 Honda Accord. He suffers from medical issues as well as mobility issues in his left arm and leg. Again, Tommy Tynes was last seen Friday morning and may now be in the Ringling area. If you see him or his car, contact the police department.
It has been a warm and soupy Thursday so far with more clouds and sunshine. At least for the moment, we're not seeing any sort of showers or thunderstorms, but we could have maybe a few storms, especially later this afternoon and this evening. I'm going to put a weather aware on that for that small storm chance. Really anywhere in Texoma has it. So also some gusty winds that are not thunderstorm related could be moving into the picture as the atmosphere continues to destabilize itself. But yeah, not too much going on, at least in terms of today. However, we are still looking at really our first major severe weather round tomorrow. We have also more thunderstorms on the way for your Saturday and Sunday, and seasonal temperatures pretty much across the board. We're going to give you the latest update on that severe weather potential here in just a little bit. Until then, back to you, Kylie.
Thank you, Brian. Well, it's a historic day at the Supreme Court as the justices hear arguments over whether former President Donald Trump has immunity for actions he allegedly took while in office. Now, this case could have a major impact on whether Trump faces trial before November's election. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has more.
As former President Donald Trump sits in a New York courtroom, attorneys are arguing for his immunity in a separate case at the Supreme Court. Donald Trump making an early morning campaign stop ahead of his hush money trial in New York on Thursday. While 200 miles away, the Supreme Court is hearing oral arguments over whether the former president has immunity from criminal prosecution for actions he took while in office.
A president has to have immunity. If you don't have immunity, you just have a ceremonial president.
This all stems from the charges against Trump for his alleged involvement in attempts to overturn the 2020 election results. Trump's attorneys argue he has immunity because he was acting in his presidential capacity to ensure election integrity. But prosecutors say the behavior continued after Trump left the White House and warn broad immunity could give too much power to presidents in and out of office.
The framers knew too well the dangers of a king who could do no wrong. They therefore devised a system to check abuses of power.
The federal election interference case against Trump is on hold until the Supreme Court issues its ruling. And regardless of its decision, this could delay the trial until after the November election.
There's a good chance that some of these justices are going to want a third option, something more nuanced where a president has some protection. If they do that, I don't think that they could try the president before the election.
The justices plan to issue an expedited ruling, which could come in days, or they could need more time. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
New York's highest court has overturned disgraced Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein's 2020 rape conviction. The New York Court of Appeals said the judge in Weinstein's case made several improper rulings that prevented the 72-year-old from getting a fair trial. That included allowing women to testify about allegations that were not part of the case.
What the highest court of New York says is that that evidence was so unduly prejudicial that its admission changed the course of the trial because the jury was looking at Harvey Weinstein looking at his character, this propensity to act, and not looking at the crimes that were charged in New York.
The court ruled Weinstein will get a new trial. He has been serving a 23-year sentence in New York, but will remain in prison since he was also convicted in 2022 of rape in Los Angeles and sentenced to 16 years in that case. Today, a fourth channel has opened at the Port of Baltimore to allow larger ships to pass through the wreckage of the collapsed Key Bridge. According to the Maryland Port Administration, the temporary channel is expected to be open for 4 days. They expect that permanent channel to be open by the end of May. Nearly 150 commercial vessels have been able to pass through the temporary channels. So far, crews have removed about 2,900 tons of wreckage. 6 construction workers died when the ship slammed into the Key Bridge and sent it plummeting into the water below. The bodies of 4 of them have been recovered. 2 are still missing. The Federal Communications Commission is expected to vote today to bring back net neutrality rules. The FCC says the move is about restoring a national standard of regulation for the internet by reclassifying major companies as common carriers. Advocates for net neutrality say they want a free and open internet, but opponents argue that's bad for businesses and consumers.
The internet of 2014 was not some sort of hopeless hellscape. It was actually pretty awesome.
Innovation has flourished. Competition has increased. The internet remains a vehicle for free and open discourse.
The FCC originally repealed net neutrality in 2017. If approved, rules would return that prohibit internet service providers from blocking or slowing down access to some websites. The FCC chair says that the pandemic proved that broadband is essential. Well, turning now to the hardwood, Dallas's WNBA team could be moving to, drumroll please, Dallas. The Wings currently play in Arlington. However, the city of Dallas approved a 15-year, $10 million deal yesterday to move the franchise to the Downtown Convention Center Arena beginning in 2026. The deal is now pending approval by the WNBA. Families of the victims of the 2 Boeing 737 MAX crashes met with prosecutors from the DOJ Wednesday, urging them to criminally prosecute the airline manufacturer. Fox News senior national correspondent Kevin Corke is in Washington and has the latest on the Justice Department's probe.
Prosecutors with the Department of Justice meeting with family members of victims of 2 deadly Boeing 737 crashes, the back-to-back crashes in 2018 and 2019, then launching a probe by the FBI and the DOT. The Justice Department faulting Boeing for how it communicated with the FAA about 737 MAX flight control systems. That later sent the jets into fatal nosedives. Now, 4 months after a fuselage panel on a Boeing 737 MAX ripped off midair, the DOJ is probing a criminal investigation into Boeing.
It is inconceivable to me that 4 months since the Alaska Air door blowout, there's even a question of whether things have changed. I hope the Justice Department reaches that same obvious conclusion.
The families argue Boeing violated a 2021 deal with prosecutors to overhaul its compliance program. Now, the families are urging the Fed to criminally prosecute Boeing.
It seems to us that the Justice Department, unfortunately, continues to be in bed with Boeing.
Their meeting comes as Boeing is midway through a 90-day mandate by the FAA to develop a comprehensive plan to address what the administration calls systemic quality control issues.
That's going to be a very important part of them being able to prove to the FAA's satisfaction that it is acceptable for them to increase their production.
Until Boeing completes its plan, the FAA is only permitting the company to expand its 737 MAX production by a fraction of what it had planned, something the Transportation Secretary acknowledges has negatively impacted some U.S. airlines. In Washington, Kevin Corke, Fox News.
But could it be a conditional risk? We're still keeping a very close eye on that possibility. And make sure to stay updated with the latest forecast. Temperature-wise, we're pretty consistent across the board with highs in the low 80s into next week.
And with that reminder from weather, as we continue moving through severe storm season, now is the time to get prepared. In Texas this weekend, you will not have to pay sales tax on emergency supplies. The tax-free holiday runs from Saturday through Monday. Well, that's all for this afternoon's News 12 Now. We hope to see you back here for News 12 at 5, 6, and 10 tonight for a complete wrap of what happened today in Texoma and beyond. Thanks for watching and have a terrific Thursday.